on the televised mental institution of NBC, they are also acknowledging that there's a big problem for the Democrats when it comes to minorities, because the Democrats have basically owned minorities. And what happens when minorities start figuring out what's what? What do you have to do? You got to scare the hell out of them.
And it's in campaigns we have these ideals of, okay, to that third that Dow's talking about, they got to understand they have skin in the game. And right now, they don't really believe they have skin in the game. That's the point that Dow's making. Campaigns, we got to give them a reason to feel they have skin in the game, that this is important to them, that losing democracy is important to them. And whether or not it be telling women that, you know what, women, you think you're losing your rights now? What do you think is going to happen if we don't have democracy? You know what, African Americans, particularly African American men who are showing the lowest motivation to turn out in this midterm, you think things are tough for you right now? Where do you think you're going to stand in a country, in America, where there's no democracy, where they have absolutely no interest or at all in respecting your rights? We've got to let these people understand that they've got skin in this game, and we got to scare the hell out of them, because quite frankly, Nicole, they should be afraid that we're going to lose our democracy.
It's a fantasy land. It's genuinely a fantasy land. There are people that watch MSNBC, and it's not that many people anymore, right? It's not that many people anymore. But there's a set of people that are influential in the political world that watch that respond to that. And you're watching that thinking that, what are you saying? The Republicans are coming for your rights. The Republicans are coming for black people and all of those things. As you guys know, we've talked about it a million times. Black and Latino unemployment was at an all-time low when Donald Trump was president, when the Congressional Black Caucus sat there. When he said it, remember he said it at the State of the Union, black and Latino unemployment at an all-time low. Man, we don't like you, orange man. We hate you more than we like black and Latino people. Latinos are leaving the Democrat Party in droves. They are leaving, and even CNN is talking about it.
There are differences in what's going on with the Latino vote. If you look at Texas, Florida, and Arizona, these are three districts that are a little bit, let's call them emblematic of what we're talking about. Florida, 27. This is the Miami-Dade area. It went from being Clinton by 19 in 2016 to Biden by just 3 in 2020. Texas, 15. That is on the Mexico border. Clinton, 16 to Biden plus 2. Arizona, this is the Tucson area. So Arizona is a place that some Democrats say think that helped Biden win that state. Absolutely. It went from Clinton 29 to Biden 27. So not a huge shift, but still in Texas and in Florida, there are big erosions happening in the Latino.
You see how she didn't want to say the last part? She kind of paused. She was kind of choking on her words. It's happening, but still it's happening. Everyone gets why this is happening. There's many reasons why it's happening. First off, generally speaking, Latino communities, whether they are Mexican or Honduran or wherever they might be, they lean in their cultural norms, they lean a little more conservative. The Democrats have done a great job. They've particularly done this with the black community, you know my feelings on the word community, that they've confused people into thinking that big government means good things, that if we give you things, that is good. But the ethics, the cultural values of these communities tend to be a little more conservative. Then you take what's going on in Texas with these open borders and people that are just pouring through our borders. Well, if you were a new immigrant to America, a legal immigrant, and you did it fairly, right? Or it was your father or mother or grandparents that did it fairly, and you lived in one of these border communities, and you're working hard and doing the American dream, doing what you probably are doing right now, or what your parents or grandparents or great-grandparents did before you, and you're working hard to get more so that your kids will have more and all of that stuff. And then you see in your border town somewhere in Texas, you see all of these people just pouring in, and the government's going to give them money, and the government's going to give them phones and other benefits and all of those things. You might be annoyed, and then you might be able to connect that to the policies of the Biden administration. And then you might even be able to remember back to that orange man who was talking about building a wall. And it wasn't a racist wall. It was a wall that just said, hey, we've got a border, and a border, if you want to actualize it, it would be a physical thing known as a wall. And we can all talk about whether a wall makes the most sense, or electronic surveillance, or some part of a wall and some part of electronic surveillance, or moats or alligators or whatever it might be. But the point is, when you take the immigration stuff, That is huge. You take some of the cultural norms, boys or girls and all of that stuff, that doesn't really fly with these people. And then you take the ridiculous language of the woke, the Latinx, Latinx, the Latinx, a word that no Latino person has ever said. It is wildly offensive. Most of the words in Spanish are gendered, right? That's how it works. That's how it works. And they have completely pushed all this nonsense on these people. It's all coming from elite white liberals. That's how it comes from the woke. And they're pushing it on these people.